already that you're probably already very familiar with how a lot of this stuff works. And like I said, with some of you mentors, this may just be review for you guys, so I apologize in advance. But this is for a lot of the guys that are having trouble navigating the platform and not knowing kind of all the secrets, I guess, to it. So first thing I'm going to do, okay, it's opening up, perfect, is when you go on the left side right here, it opens up all these tabs. You want to click on marketing, and these are beautiful. These are awesome. These are all click funnels for your platform. As you see, it's just basic powur.com/my name. If a customer has questions about solar, it's powur.com/my name/why solar. There's an introduction. There's why solar. There's top 10 questions. You see there's a link for sellers to join. That is if you wanted to recruit someone to join the actual platform that wants to pay the $50 a month and be an actual rep of Powur. The ambassador join, that's what Chris Harris uses exceptionally well. And this is our referral program, right? The $1,000 referral program. And now, just yesterday, now we have access to the enterprise join. That is, and I'm still kind of learning about it, but pretty much if you know a company that maybe is already established, that has salesmen and things like that, and maybe they don't want to, the sales manager doesn't want to transfer over and then bring on every salesman individually on as an individual rep because there may be fall off or whatever. That company can come on as a corporation through the Powur Enterprise. And just like if you recruited a new rep, if you recruited an enterprise, in theory, an established company with leads already and clientele already and with salesmen already could sell a lot more than 4, 5, 6 sales that a good salesman can do. They could be doing 20, 30, 40, 50 sales a month, and you would get a profit share off all that. So yeah, so that just launched. As you see, I haven't even used it yet. But yeah, so seller join, this is what you would send to recruit, and literally you just click right here and it copies the link. Ambassador, this is what you would send for an ambassador, and enterprise, that's what you click for enterprise. So like Bobby Smith said during the conference, he said literally anyone could benefit from Powur or benefit us through Powur, right? Anyone can be either a customer, anyone can be B, a sales rep, or anyone could be C, an ambassador. So definitely utilize that and utilize all three of those options for your customers. So that's how you would do that. So utilize these links for sure. And they're also in Spanish for Spanish speakers. Utilize those links. That's where it is right here on this tab. And then what you were asking about, Nicole, is right here underneath knowledge base. Let's see if I click this, will it show the other page? Do you guys see this other page, Bo? I was opening up knowledge base.
No.
No, it's still showing.
You need to share.
Oh, okay, no, I see it. Share this tab instead. Do you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, so I clicked on knowledge base and this popped up. This has tons and tons of info and training, guys, that you can utilize. The Powur Hour, I think, was its own little section. But Powur Hour will be underneath this. So for Nicole, if you want to access that. Also, there's coverage map right there, customer bonuses, different things like that that you can click on and you can utilize.
Powur Hour is actually in Powur University, so I'm pretty sure.
Powur University, my bad.
Yep.
Okay, let me share this tab. Okay, get in the flow of it, guys. All right, Powur University right here, Powur Live right there. That's where you'd see the training for Sonova and a bunch of other stuff. Also, they updated their tier 1 level training, which is new reps training. I recommend everyone, if you've already finished the training, to go through it again and go through their tier 1 training. Charles Thompson updated pretty much all the training to be a lot better and a lot more beneficial for all of us. So yeah, so I highly recommend we all go through that and utilize that. And then right here, projects. So we go to projects, right? You enter a lead. Everyone should know how to enter a lead. You click on leads right here and you click on add lead, right? You click on add lead when a lead is added. You click qualify lead, and that's what changes it to a project. And like I said, a lot of this is review, guys. But you change it to project. It's loading. Once it's a project, that's when, I'll go to this one right here. That's when you can pull it up. So On the summary section, guys, is where you would assign a mentor. This one right here is where the mentor would go. It would say right here, assign mentor. So that's when you'd pick out Curtis or Dana or myself or Bo, whoever your mentor is. And then honestly, us mentors can handle a lot of this stuff right here. It is good information for us to have, though. If you had the roof age, the roof type, main service panel size, and the mounting preference. Financing, usually we just put a loan. Work, if it's solar and roof, or if it's just solar, that's what you put right there. And us mentors are the only ones that are able to actually request a proposal. Now, this particular customer had just moved into the house, so we don't have a bill yet, but I brought up this example right here in Texas. This is, I think, Stevens, one of Stevens' leads. But I just wanted to show it because this right here is, oh, wait, do you guys see this or no?
No.
Okay.
You gotta show the other one.
Darn it. Okay. Do you guys see this now?
Yep.
So this is one of Stevens' bills that he submitted, I believe. And as you see right here, there's a chart that shows the customer's consumption every month. That's what we need. That's mainly what we need, or us mentors will need. And you, once you become a solar pro, will need to sell a deal, right? And to build a deal accurately, right? This is the information that we need. So there's a nice little breakdown of how much energy they consume. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here on the proposal. These are live links, guys. Never send this to a customer. Okay, let me share this tab too. I'm going to remember
Share your entire screen. You can do entire screen. That'll always show what you're viewing.
Okay, we're here. You guys see the proposal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a live link. You never want to send this directly to a customer, because then a customer can adjust it live, just like we can, or they can see all the kind of nitty gritty stuff that we don't really want a customer to see, such as our profits, right? So first thing that I do when I get a new proposal, and this is what I want you guys to start doing as well, first thing I do is I want to update this chart. Like I said, this is the customer that doesn't have usage. I showed Steven this, and that's where you can click on literally any of these blue bars right here, and you can adjust the month by month usage to reflect what they actually use and consume. Okay, and so you want this to be accurate. You want this to reflect their actual consumption. You want that month by month breakdown if you can get it. If you have a general, hey, I know the customer uses 10,000, this kind of averages out pretty fairly, but it is way more accurate and better for us, the sales, and for the customer if we have an accurate month by month breakdown for them. So the first thing that you want to do is click right here and adjust any of these first. Okay. Because that will then allow us to go here and make our necessary adjustments on the design. So when we get a proposal, it's going to show the roof maxed out. Obviously, I removed some of these panels, but it's just a simple click. But it's going to show all these panels filled in as green. So I've had a lot of calls recently of excited reps, I'll say. But, we'll request a proposal. They'll open up the link. Oh my goodness, I said, what are these idiots doing? Why is it at 194%? Guys, we are the professionals. When us mentors go in or a solar pro goes in and requests a proposal through the portal, it is notifying Solo to then send us a max roof layout, and that's it. They're not adjusting our financing. They're not adjusting our adders. They're not adjusting the design. Okay, it's very important that we understand this. We are the professionals. It is our job to go in here and remove the panels that shouldn't be, to get to 100% or as close or far away as we can, and B, make sure the panels are in the best place for solar. For those of you that don't know, south is best, west is second, east is third, north you want to avoid unless you absolutely have to use it, and it's your last option. If you don't know where south, west, east, and north is, this right here, you click on this, and it shows south and the rest is north, right? So that's where we're just going to utilize the south, and we're going to, eliminate all the north facing panels. If it was west, that'd be the second best option. If it was east, that'd be third best option. And I'll say right there, east and west. So pretty straightforward on that. But yeah, so please don't call me or Bo or Dana saying, hey, I only wanted 120%. Why is that 345%?
Hey, Anthony, while on that note, what is your recommendation? I mean, just to kind of give everyone maybe your thoughts on when you're building that proposal, what is your typical offset that you like to shoot for? Is it 100%? Is it 110%?
It's a minimum 100, but I like to be somewhere between 100, 110. Sometimes, depending how the panels are facing and how much usage they have, sometimes you don't get an exact 100. You may get like a 103 or a 106, right? Which I'm comfortable with between 100 and 110. Ultimately, when I'm presenting the proposal, I'm going to confirm for sure kind of where they stand. In this particular situation, like I said, we didn't have usage. Based on square footage, we came up with a certain amount of electricity that we assumed they would consume. And because they had no usage and because we can get 120% off of this roof, I kind of sold the customer on let's just add those 2 or 3 extra panels to hit that 120, right, and max out the good roof space, which is south facing. But I want to be within 100, 110% offset. There's an echo. Can you make sure everyone's muted, please? But yeah, so I want to be within 100, 120% off.
Anthony, now you're muted, buddy. You're muted.
Anthony, you're muted. The echo seem you're on twice,
Okay.
so it seemed like it's coming through yours.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you should be good now.
Good now, right?
Yep.
All right. So I would say you mentors, if you guys had any feedback, feel free to unmute yourselves and give any other feedback or any pointers as well, along with what I'm saying. But usually I want to be within 100 to 110%. I know some want to be higher, some want to be lower for whatever reason. Sometimes a certain utility may require you to be lower as well.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, 100% agree with what Anthony said. It really is utility dependent. There are some restrictions with certain utilities that you cannot go over 100%, some are 125%. But in the utility areas where you can, there's no limitation. I always try and ask probing questions for them. For instance, what do they do for work, right? Are they teachers? Are they gone all day long? Are they using most of their power at night? If they have children, how old are your children? That's a pertinent question, because if they're 16, 17, 18 years old, they're going to be using more power than someone that's 2 and 3 years old. Okay. Yeah. Are they going to be adding a pool? Are they going to be adding an electric car in the future? Those kinds of things are really important to understand, because what customers do, and you don't want this to bite you in the butt the following year, is that when a customer goes solar, they think, oh, I can use as much power as I want to use. And lo and behold, the following year, at the end of that year, they've used a lot more than you've put on the roof. And so they'll have a big true-up bill with the utility company. So you want to pay attention to that. But what Anthony said about 100% is great. PG&E, I try to do maybe 120, 125% to help them grow into their system.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then also, yeah, I mean, whatever. When you figure out kind of what future things that they are going to do to the home, then there's ways to figure out how much extra energy that's going to be, and you should factor in. So, yeah, just a couple of factors on that. And then
Christopher Castro had a question, and then Nicole.
Yeah, I want to chime in really quick.
Yeah. Oh, Curtis, is that Curtis?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I just so Dana, just because I've done a couple deals with you, and I know like MID is kind of around that 100%. I haven't personally done any by myself. What happens, for the sake of conversation, what happens or can happen when you do offset, say 125%, and they're only, or say 130%, and they're only allowing 115? Have you ran into that? And then what is the best way to find out what the max is per utility? Or some Anthony,
Anthony,
maybe you guys can answer that.
Anthony, you want to take that, Anthony?
Yeah, so a lot of that's just local market research, Chris. Just kind of knowing your market.
Okay.
Like, for example, SMUD, will not allow above 100%. Obviously, this is very California specific, but SMUD as a utility out of Sacramento, they will not allow above 100%, not even at exactly 100%. So in a situation where we were to build 110, 115%, the utility usually would just push it back, permitting. Hey, you're at 20 panels, you need to be at 18 or whatever. Hey, you're offsetting 10,000, you need to offset 9,000.
Yeah, one of the easiest things to do, what I've done in these other markets that I didn't know the utility in, most utilities, if you just look on their website, will tell you, look up, the utility net metering,
Yep.
whatever. And in that page, usually say, here's your max output you can have, whatever. So that's what I've done. So if you have a proposal or you're looking at, just look it up, that utility company, that usually will tell you.
Yeah, and to Bo's point, guys, if you're using a mentor, a lot of times, we'll look that up for you. We don't want you to get confused. We can always look that up for you. Take a look at the website. We can even call the utility, because even though, Anthony said that his best practices is between 110 and 125, it is very important to understand the utility where you're at, because like these guys are saying, you don't want to overbuild the system, because another thing that we're looking at, like Bo said, we want to look at the net metering. What do they give back when it comes to the credits? Some of these utilities, they give a 1-to-1, and some of them give less. And so you don't want to overbuild the system, because in essence, you're just giving away kilowatts to the utility company that they're not going to get back. Now, if they have a battery, that's normally when I talk battery guys, hopefully not to confuse, is when I'm dealing with a utility that's not doing a 1-to-1 credit, because it helps them to keep the energy that they're producing.
Yep. Yes, sir. And Casper, if you focus on PG&E, you'll be very comfortable.
Yeah. So, would anyone like to share what can happen? I mean, I know that it prolongs probably the installation and all that, but has anyone had that happen? And I mean, it's just revision and all that, correct?
Yeah, Christopher, I had one. So Liberty Utilities, specifically, kind of in the Tahoe area, they're very specific. I designed and sold a system at 120% offset, and they came back and essentially said you have to have this below your annual consumption. So it was a revision. We had to kind of redo everything, loan docs,
redo contracts.
So yeah, just like they're saying, it's very utility specific. So they're not all going to let you go to that 110, 120. Like Anthony said, you might have to stay below that 100 mark in certain circumstances. So it just led to a lot of extra work, but we got it worked out.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, just to kind of put a little of fire or fear in you too, it's our responsibility to make sure that we pay attention to that, because I have one right now with MID. I was just getting back into the solar game. This was some months ago that I sold it. It passed permits. We got the install glasses on the roof, and now the PTO, they won't provide PTO because they said the system is too large. So I'm fighting an uphill battle with that one right now. Lesson learned, expensive lesson for me, and just a too bad lesson for my customer. But yeah, just like Curtis said, just look it up, call them, look on their internet, maybe on the website or whatever you got to do.
Yep. Good point. Okay. So any other questions kind of on the design aspect of it or anything like that? Herbert?
How's it going, guys? Great information. How about when you're designing the system and you factor in the 30% or 5,000 kilowatts for electric car that the person's going to, get delivered in 2 months? Is that a factor?
No, that's definitely a factor that you want to get ahead of. And there's two ways to go about it. Either one is you can go to that chart I showed earlier, the blue chart, and let's say they consume 10,000, and you click on that chart and you say it's going to produce 15,000, right? And just make sure you're communicating with the customer and they're aware, hey, Mr. Customer, you are using 10,000, but with the addition of the electric car that's getting delivered in 2 months, you can produce you're going to be consuming about, 5,000 extra. And then, or just build a system. So like this system, I think this customer is assuming that it's going to use about 10,000. So when I design my system, I'm going to design it to produce 15,000 to factor in the extra usage for the electric car. Once again, though, certain utilities, we had one in SMUD, which is Sacramento region. We had to actually send in the contract that the customer did purchase an electric vehicle so that the utility can approve, the extra energy consumption, the larger system that needed. So there are, once again, it is kind of utility specific as to how open they are to larger systems like that. But if it's, hey, car's on its way, be here in 2 months, then most utilities should approve of that. So,
Okay.
Curtis, you had your hand up?
Yeah. So just really curious, do you know with Solo, the amount of sun hours that they're factoring in when it comes to the offset percentage that we're quoting?
As in shading report or?
Like for example, working for another company using a different platform, they went by the minimum sun hours was 6 hours a day. So when they gave you an offset, it was based off of 6 hours a day. And so obviously, if the homeowner got more than 6 hours, which was almost everybody, then that offset actually was a little bit higher. But it was kind of quoting low so that it would over deliver, not say, hey, you're gonna, this is based off of 8 hours. It was based off of.
So, I mean, as we see right here, we have our shading report set at about 3%, meaning it'll produce about 97%, and that's usually playing it safe. So in this situation, there's not really any tree issues besides that one right there, but the customer actually has a tree trimmed. This is a little bit higher level stuff, but if it really comes down to, and Curtis, I know hey, this is probably going to lose some due to shading, or it may produce some. That's where you could request a revision and put in the notes, hey, can you up the shading, lower the shading accordingly, because we're assuming it's going to produce more, produce less. So that's where that will come in. So we do have about 7 minutes. Let me go over the next 2 or 3 more steps that I would take in designing a proposal, and then we'll open up for a few minutes of questions. I mean, I know you East Coast guys, you guys it's getting pretty late for you guys. But I'm willing to stay on another 15 minutes past 8 o'clock my time to answer any questions you guys may have. But so first thing we did is we adjusted the usage. Right now we have accurate usage of what the customer consumes. Maybe we factored in, them consuming or consuming extra due to an electric vehicle, like Herbert said. We factored all this information in. Now we have the design where we want it, right, to present. Once again, this is a live proposal. This is a live tool. So if on the fly you need to make adjustments for the customer, like Dana said, hey, I got a kid going off to college, this summer, right? So, we may be producing a little bit less energy or consuming a little bit less energy. So pull back a couple panels, do whatever you got to do. But now that's where I'd go in the adder section. Okay. So adders, you want to go through all this and set any adders that you may need. Travel adders, underneath knowledge base where I showed earlier, the coverage map shows where travel adders may be needed in certain areas. I know for a fact this area in California does not need a travel adder, but if it's on the outskirts, Brent, I'm sure, deals with them all the time, but you want to factor in your travel adders. Miscellaneous electrical work, I would avoid that. Concrete cut and patch, usually that is along with a ground mount and along with trenching. And if you have to trench through a driveway or a sidewalk or something, you want to factor that in. Extended warranty, you want to have that in for most, if not all of your customers. That's where we have the Solar Insure 30-year warranty. If you haven't heard my soapbox about that, maybe we can do that another time. Solar Edge backup interface, that's only if you are doing a Solar Edge backup and you want the energy hubs with it. Dirt trenching, once again, that is for ground mounts. You want a ballpark of how many feet trenching will be needed. Roof work, that's if a roof is needed. Stephen is excellent with that. So if you want to factor that in, it's a $15,000 roof or whatever, that's where you factor that in. Attic run, that's an aesthetic adder. If the customer doesn't want the pipes running across the top of the roof, if they want it through the attic for aesthetic purposes, they can do that. Electrical adders, I like to usually have the 200 amp main panel to be determined adder factored in. As you see, it's depending on the area, it's anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500. like I tell everyone, is I want to have that in because one of the worst things that can happen is you don't factor it in. They come back saying, hey, we need to do a 200 amp upgrade, or even it is 200 amp, but we need a 200 amp solar ready because the 200 amp is maxed out. One of the worst things is we got to come up with $2,000 to $2,500. So either A, we are eating $2,500, or B, we are going to have to ask the customer to pay the additional $2,500. So either way, it sucks. So I would rather factor this in. Obviously, it says TBD, which means to be determined. So that means if it's not needed, then the 2,500 will then roll over into our commission. So it's kind of like a bonus to us from us. So I want to factor that in every time. Stucco and paint, MPU. That's usually if there's a major MPU upgrade or they got to move the main panel. Those are extra things you got to focus on. Which in the beginning, your mentor is going to kind of look out for a lot of this stuff, but just so you kind of have a general idea. Multiple array is if there's 3 or more roof planes. In this situation, there's only 1, but that's 3 or more roof planes. That's just different sections of the roof. Mounting adders, you want to factor these in as well. Could be anywhere from concrete, flat, ballast roof, reverse tilt if you need a reverse tilt, foam roof, metal roof, clay tile, slate roof, and ground mount. Electrical engineering, that's if you're dealing with a farm and they got a big shed or something like that. Sometimes you have to have additional electrical engineering. End-phase energy backup. This is if you can do the IQ8s. If you want sunlight only, it's $7,600. If you want sunlight and a 3 kilowatt, it's about $2,000 more, and then so on and so forth. Right? That's with the IQ8s. As JB or Jonathan Budd said, do not use the IQ8s unless you are giving them at least a 3 kilowatt with the energy backup. There is trainings on Tuesdays, I believe, 2 o'clock Pacific from Enphase, so I highly recommend everyone go on it. I'm still learning how it works exactly as well, but I recommend everyone going on it. Additional permit costs. Once again, this is kind of utility and city and county specific. Your mentors should be, caught up on most of this in their area and know their area to know, hey, certain territories require extra permitting costs. I just off the top of my head, I know there's areas out here like in Lathrop that a permit has to be approved through the fire station, which is additional cost. So if you're selling in Lathrop, right, Stockton, San Francisco, I'd probably avoid San Francisco completely, but it's just a headache out there. But yeah, so these different territories, these different cities, counties, utilities may require additional permit costs. Structural engineering, probably going to avoid that, but once again, you're installing it on someone's shed or something. If you need structural engineering, though, you probably shouldn't even install it on the shed. Inverter and garage, once again, it's an aesthetic thing if they don't want the inverter outside the home. Steep roof, obviously that's if it's a really steep roof. Credit guard, who was it? Oh, Freddie Russell. Yeah, he just closed one with the credit card yesterday. That's little lining chicken wire along the outside of the panel so that doves and pigeons and stuff don't crawl underneath there. Tree trimming, it's straightforward. Energy efficient kit, I have no idea what this is. I've never used it. I recommend not using it. Solar Edge EV charger, once again, if you do a Solar Edge inverter, factor that in to get them the EV charging station. Trenching through rock formation, that's if you're doing a ground mount in the mountains, you're probably going to want to factor that in as well. Septic plan, usually along with ground mounts. And then margin, that's our profit. That's money in the bank, right? So you want to factor in whatever necessary adders are needed. Usually, like I said, I want to factor in the to be determined. I want to factor in the mounting adders, and I want to factor in the extended 30-year warranty. Yeah, and then whatever the margin is. So you guys entering a lead, once the proposal pops up, you can make all these additions before the mentor steps in and fine tunes it a little bit. But I'm sure most of the mentors on this call would appreciate if it was set up a little bit better, just for us to make just fine adjustments here and there. And then so once I got all my adders factored in, I'm going to want to play with the financing. And that's where you can do a Good Leap, you can do a Sunlight, you can do Home Run, you can do Sonova. So Sonova is the new financing option. It's been in beta for like a year. It's a great program. It has a very, very strong 25-year warranty with a power production guarantee. On top of that, there is for an additional cost, there is a Sonova battery warranty for 25 years as well. But right now we will look at the Good Leap because it has a very aggressive rebate right now with the Flex Pay. So we can go to let's do a 20-year. Yeah, I'm already on it. Okay, let's do a 25-year. 25-year 1.98, 18-month Flex Pay. So the first 18 months is $75 a month. With today's new incentive, which is live from now until March 31st, we will actually cover the first 18 months of payments. We can even extend it out to 36 months of payments if they do the, let's do the 20-year. The 20 or 36. So we will actually cover the $58 a month times 36, meaning that the remaining 17 years of this term is $194 a month. The flexible option is really good because it will reamortize after the 36 months. Anything excess past $2,500 would reamortize the entire loan. So a customer can pay this off very, very quickly. But yeah, so anyone have feedback? I'm sorry. Anyone have something? Okay. But yeah, so I mean, I literally do just 4 or 5 things, those 4 or 5 things when I design a proposal. And like I said, this is for all the new people. If you want to knock out those 4 or 5 things and get into practice of doing that, I highly recommend it. There are a couple other things you can do, such as changing the equipment, changing the batteries, changing the inverter, changing the panels and things like that. You can do that. But honestly, stuff like that, you can wait on the mentor. On top of that, you can change the incentives, which is right here, the new customer incentive. If you want to show that or you don't want to offer that at all, you can have it selected or you can have it hidden. Completely up to you. Once again, if you want to get real deep into it, you can change the solar rate for what it's going to be. I know this probably applies more so to the Texas deals because there's literally, 50 utilities out in Texas that you can use and pick from. So those are the 4 or 5 things that I do on a proposal. There's a couple other things that you can do, but just for a basic quick rundown to those that haven't built a proposal yet,